join us this morning for Mornings with GWBC. So we hope you got your favorite cup of coffee, tea, or that delicious smoothie, because we want you to sit back and relax for the next 30 minutes as we bring you great information about our top 10 countdown, our special guest, which is Atrium Health, and that wonderful raffle that we always have at the end of our show, where one of our viewing audience will win. So let's remind you that please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, because we want to know how you are doing and what's happening with you. And we want to thank Atrium Health for being our premier sponsor today. So without further delay, let's go ahead and get started and introduce our special guest. She is Kaddra Greene, and she's the program manager of supply diversity for Atrium Health. She is responsible for the partnering with supply chain management by developing and executing strategic sourcing strategies and process improvements to advance diverse supplier sourcing. And this initiative also includes increasing opportunities and elevating spend for minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses that can provide services and products to the healthcare system across all clinical and non-clinical categories. And she's also spearheading the creation of the program Supplier Development Initiative that will involve mentoring and training diverse suppliers in various areas of business and industry, specific education to boost their performance and drive continued business growth. And as you know, the healthcare industry is a little bit different than some of the other industries. So it's important that you become an expert, a subject matter expert in that field. Kaddra holds a Bachelor of Science in Psychology and a Master of Business Administration with a concentration in supply chain management, and both from Gardner-Webb University. And she's also a Lean Six Sigma Green Belt, Central Piedmont Community College, and received advanced training in project management from the University of Miami, obtained a certificate in women's entrepreneurship from Cornell University, and is a certified professional in supplier diversity from the Institute for Supply Chain Management. So please welcome Kaddra. It's so good to have you here this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Ross, for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, good. I mean, gosh, Six Sigma. I'm just looking at this litany of degrees that you have and experience, which is great. It's like checking all of the boxes that we need for someone to represent us in supplier diversity, because that means you're walking the talk and you understand the talk too. So that's great. So I want to go ahead and get started with a few questions. And one of them is, I always like to ask, what's happening at Atrium Health? Meaning, one, the temperature check. How are you doing? How is Les doing? How is the procurement team doing? Because we're all still experiencing COVID-itis, is what I'm calling it now.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for asking. Of course, in the healthcare industry, things are just different. I mean, with everything going on, we have really had to change the way that we operate, the way we manage the office, and that is both on the clinical side and the non-clinical side. I work on the non-clinical side, and my heart goes out to our clinicians because they are on the front line servicing our patients. And we're doing everything that we can to remain safe and healthy. That is first and foremost, and that is priority. And internal to Atrium Health, there's an emergency management corporate incident command, and that remains at priority level 1 for COVID-19, and all facility incident commands have been activated for COVID-19 to remain at priority 1. So what that means for the non-clinical side, including supply chain and supplier diversity, is that we have the ability to work remotely. we've maintained our communication and work efforts through virtual meetings and calls. And if we need to return to the office for anything, and that includes working from the office, we have measures in place, including wearing a mask the entire time that we're on the campus, inside the offices. Hand sanitizing stations are set up throughout the office buildings. And our janitorial services are remaining constant in spite of the downsizing, in spite of the lack of flow that is going on throughout the office. So I would say that in summary, Les and I, Les McGinley, the VP of Supplier Diversity for Atrium Health, we are remaining safe. Our supply team is safe, and we're grateful for that. And we just, we continue to send positive vibes and support to our clinical teammates who remain on the front line and that bring the best service possible to all of our Atrium Health patients.
Well, thank you. And I'm so glad you mentioned the front line. I call them the frontline soldiers
Yes.
because they are, and probably the best thing that we can do to assist them, of course, is, the COVID protocols of wearing a mask,
Right.
washing our hands, and social distancing.
Mm-hmm.
One thing about them we have to realize, especially those that are working in the emergency, is they're not just managing COVID. They're managing all the other everyday challenges, health challenges that people have.
Exactly.
Accidents, and we wear them out. Plus, we need to think about them going home to their families.
Yep.
And we want them to go home to their families and a safe environment as well, and that they're not necessarily visiting their family in the hospital. So thank you so much for mentioning that.
Yes.
And I appreciate it. So hopefully we will be through this part one soon, vaccinations, but it still will require us to probably continue to practice, but other things we need to do. So what advice would you give our women businesses regarding trying to do business within Atrium?
Well, our supply chain team is very robust, and the team is constantly strategizing to bring more opportunities to diverse-owned businesses. And supply chain and supply diversity, we've worked tirelessly in a collaborative effort to identify the categories and commodities that would generate the most value optimization, and that's through our diverse business partners. So what I would say to the women business enterprises is to first and foremost, and number one, be ready. Be ready for when those opportunities come your way. You want to be able to put your best foot forward because you never know when that phone call is going to come. And there are so many emails and phone calls that Les and I receive, and that our supply chain receives, and that we send out correspondence as well. And the first thing that we look for is if you're going to be available to take that email and that phone call from us, we want to know that you are going to be able to provide the information that we need in order to push you forward to the next step of the opportunity that comes our way. Supply diversity works closely with supply chain to identify any opportunities that are possible throughout the healthcare system. We recently closed out a promo items RFP, an office supply RFP. And one thing that we looked for is the business acumen of the companies that we vetted through the process. Were they ready with the materials? Were they able to handle the information provided? And that's going to be necessary in order to really be able to get through the next opportunity. Is if that information is requested to you from a supply chain teammate or within supply diversity, make sure that you have all your ammunition ready to fire off so that you can really put your best foot forward. It's going to land, but you just have to be ready.
Yeah, okay. All right, so in talking about that, and we're kind of talking about COVID, has there been any changes that within your supply chain since COVID? That, the word of the day, of course, in 2020 was pivot, right? And how do you pivot? So are there any things that our women businesses need to understand that may have also changed regarding that. Are you all continuing to look for PPE, equipment? So those type, products. So that's important for our women businesses to know too.
Absolutely, Roz. During this unprecedented time, businesses are doing everything that they can to keep their doors open. As a supplier diversity professional, as a human being, my heart really goes out to these business owners and their employees. I understand that businesses are becoming innovative and flexible in their service capabilities and their product offerings. But one thing for sure is that if a business decides to take the leap of faith and expand their business portfolio, ensure that you've done your homework and that it's an effort that you can truly take on, one that is viable and that you've done your research. Research is very important. For instance, a number of businesses have decided to partake in the distribution of personal protective equipment, which is also known as PPE, like you mentioned. And these products are needed throughout our healthcare system, especially on the front line, so to speak, to protect our clinicians. And as you'll see, as you go about your day, the way of life now, as we know it, is to step out with a mask, right? But is the mask an authentic product or is it counterfeit? That's always the question. We have been approached by so many businesses that offer these products and want to be a distributor for the healthcare system. And we appreciate all the effort and all of the capability statements and all the conversations that we've had with these organizations that have the ability to get a hold on thousands of masks at one time, including other items that we may need. However, we have to perform our due diligence to ensure that the products and services are not only legit, but that these offerings are coming from a reputable company. So both supplier diversity and my supply chain partners execute an extensive vetting process to ensure the integrity, the ethical, the legitimate, and the viable efforts of not only the company that has approached us, but that their products and services are sustainable. It is imperative that we take these steps to secure a strong supply chain cycle for both current and future vendors. And I encourage all businesses to do the same for your own internal supply chain. So again, while we are continuing to accept proposals for PPE, we will take you through that extensive vetting process to ensure that these products are indeed legitimate, because we have to protect our employees, we have to protect our patients.
Wow, I appreciate that, and that's good to know, especially when you're saying that, I'm going to use the word scam, that there's so many scams, that are out there because people are trying to take advantage of the situation, right?
Yeah.
And not realizing is more damaging because a person is thinking they're protected when, especially to your point, the clinicians, and they really aren't. So I appreciate that. Let's talk about the fact that in the healthcare industry, you all actually have like a consortium that you use, and I think it's Premier, maybe one of them that you use. So kind of explain that. Because do you buy 100% or do you also purchase through another entity?
Right. So our GPO, which is known as our group purchasing organization, is Premier. And our Atrium Health Supply Chain Alliance, we are members of Premier. And Premier has been a great partner in ensuring that we can get a hold of the suppliers that we need to talk to and the products and services that we need. That is our go-to for our GPO, it is Premier. However, we do take our internal efforts as well. And we work collaboratively, supply chain and supply diversity, in order to identify any opportunities that we may have and that we can get those opportunities out in communication to our women-owned businesses, our minority and our veteran-owned, et cetera. We work very well with Roz and her team at the Greater Women's Business Council. We are also,
Thank you.
absolutely, we love Roz and her team. They've been phenomenal partners. And of course, we have memberships with other councils such as the NMSDC. And we're working on expanding our council affiliations, and we rely on these heavily to ensure that we are getting the strongest partner possible for any opportunity that comes our way in both the product and service offering areas. And this is important because while we do not require a certification to do business, we do heavily encourage it. And the reason why we encourage is because we want to ensure that you are indeed, number one, a diverse-owned entity as stated, okay? And that is within supplier diversity, but also because we understand the value that comes with being affiliated with a diverse council, such as the GWBC. We know that having a partner like GWBC is going to take you far. It's going to have a spokesperson for you, so to speak, and also a point of reference. And we work closely with Roz and her team so that we can make sure that we are communicating with all members effectively, and that we are going to get the best suppliers that are going to be available to us for any opportunity. And we also are in the process, as you stated in my bio, we're developing a supplier development program. And although supplier diversity and supplier development coincide with each other, I do want to make this point: the two programs serve different purposes. Okay, a supplier development program provides education, guidance, and support to suppliers to generate new capabilities, refresh competencies, and improve performance. And depending on the host organization, a supplier development program can either be an informal effort or formally structured, the latter depending on resources, budgeting, organizational goals, etc. As part of our commitment to diversity, Atrium Health has established a supplier development program, and we are in the process of getting that program kicked off. And so we're very excited about it. The program's primary objective is to build capabilities and expand the capacity of our women-owned businesses and our minority-owned, veteran-owned, et cetera, to enhance their competitiveness and support growth within our communities, right? And so the desired goal for each participating supplier is to improve their business acumen, and that's for them to competitively seek opportunities and to be included in our sourcing process when they are ready. The modules that be explored include, but are not limited to, business law, finance, accounting, marketing and branding, human resources, how to read a contract, how to get through an RFP. All of those points are going to be very important in order for your survival as a business, and of course, how to do business with our organization and any organization. Because of our new way of life, as we know it now, we're going to get creative with the delivery of the program, and that means in person, virtual, and hybrid. We will have those options available within the program. And we are just ecstatic that we will be bringing a business education program to our small and diverse business community throughout our service area, which now extends through North and South Carolina and Georgia.
There we go.
I'm so sorry. We had some technical difficulties. Roz is having some issues kind of getting back on. But can you, so Kaddra, just while we're waiting for Roz to get back on, can you just kind of expand on how some of our WBEs can, you know, really benefit with working with Atrium Health, especially during these unprecedented times?
Yeah, absolutely. So working with Atrium Health, being a WBE, there are going to be so many opportunities. Our supply chain team is really turning on the hose, so to speak. And through these efforts, we are going to be communicating with all of our diversity councils in order to get the word out of any opportunities that will be made available to our business community. So stay tuned for that. We will, within Atrium, we do everything that we can to reach our diverse business hotline, so to speak, those businesses that we've kept in our index, that we've previously vetted. We check our inbox, our voicemails, everything possible in order to reach as many businesses as possible when that opportunity comes our way. But again, that communication with our Greater Women's Business Council is going to be imperative so that we can communicate and market these opportunities. We really want our women-owned businesses to be a part of our process. We want to continue to extend our business directory, our small business directory, and we want to increase our diverse spend. And we cannot do that without our women-owned business partners.
Okay. So with that registry, that's something that the WBEs need to look out for in order to kind of be a part of that. Is that something that they can register for now?
Yes, absolutely. So if you visit our Atrium Health Supplier Diversity website, you will be able to register directly as a supplier so that we will already have your information. Just do a simple Google search of Atrium Health Supplier Diversity and that page should pop up. If you are not able to find it, feel free to email me, Kaddra.Greene, Kaddra.Greene@atriumhealth.org, and I will direct you to that portal for you to register your business.
And I'll make sure that I put your email and that website in the chat before everyone logs off. And what I will do is I'll also put it in the email that I'm going to send out tomorrow with the survey, as well as a recording of this program. So the way we really like to end our program, Kaddra, is we want to get to know you a little better, and just by telling us what your favorite quote is. What do you like to live by?
Wow. So I actually have so many favorite quotes, and it's very hard to pick just one. I actually have a calendar and I take the time on that monthly calendar each month. I write a quote down and I pre-select quotes to live by on a daily basis, and I pull from my quote journal. I have a quote journal and I've maintained this journal for over 20 years, and it covers literally thousands of pages.
Wow.
Again, 20 years of taking quotes that have inspired me, that I love, and making sure that I have it handy for those times that I need an inspirational word. And so again, it's hard to pick just one, but my quote for today is leap and the net will appear.
I love
Leap
it.
and the net will appear. Take from that what you will.
I love it. I think everyone can pretty much attest to that right now, especially during these unprecedented times and
Absolutely.
fear of pivoting and doing things a little different. I think that's definitely a good one to live by. So thank you so much, Kaddra.
Absolutely.
Just stick around for a little bit. We're going to go ahead. Hopefully Roz will be able to come back on, but I'm going to hold down the fort for right now. And what we're going to do is in the next few seconds, we're going to get through our top 10 countdown for UWBs. Hang tight. All right. So I think Kaddra kind of set, a good segue into, with inspiration and things like that. And because we're in some unprecedented times, I think it's a good time for us to just kind of go through the top 10 countdown of some ways for us to kind of utilize some self-care and just, ways to kind of just woo-saw a little bit. So number 10 is set your hours and stick to them. I think a good thing to go by, especially since we're all working from home. Sometimes we feel like we can just kind of keep going, but we need to kind of set our good hours and just stick to them because, we need to take care of ourselves and some other things as well. Number 9 would be create a flexible working environment. I think that's also very important. Number 8 is get help from others. Fellow certified women businesses is definitely a start. So I think that GWBC has a great network. We have so many opportunities to network with each other, as well as our corporate members, especially just right now. We're in the chat. You can kind of utilize some of the other WBEs that are in this program with you and seeing what they have going on. You never know. They might have some different tips and tools that you can use as well. Practice relaxation techniques, push your body, relax your mind. That's very, very important. everybody just has to take a minute to just kind of woo-saw, relax, because, your body will definitely tell you when you need to relax. So everyone that might be feeling little aches and pains and headaches and things, that might be your body telling you, everybody just relax for a second. Number 6, remember 90-10. If you aim for perfection 90% of the time, you will have 10% to play with all the time. Things will always come up to disrupt your plans. Take control of the times when you can to prepare for those times that you can't. Number 5, it's a simple equation. Good health equals more energy equals better focus and efficiency, and better focus and efficiency equals higher productivity. I think that pretty much speaks for itself. Number 4 is check in with your mental health. Sometimes that can be just, turning off the laptop, turning off the TV, kind of staying away from social media and the business. And it could just be maybe taking a time to sit outside, have a talk with nature, have a talk with, loved ones, or maybe just having just some me time where you're not talking to anybody at all. Number 3 is harness the power in deep breaths. I think that's very important. That's something that I do often, just kind of take, 10 seconds, take 10 deep breaths, and let's try it again. And number 2 is practice I am statements. I think that's also very important. There's nothing wrong with, with kind of boosting yourself up, letting yourself know that you are talented, beautiful, powerful, willing, open, strong, all these words. I think it's very important. Just kind of remind yourself that you are great. And number 1, most important, is GWBC radio show open for business. Our radio show has really, really thrived over the last 2 years. So if you have not had a chance to have an episode, please utilize the link at gwbcradio.com. You'll be able to hear some other episodes. And also, if you're not getting our newsletters, that's where you're able to sign up. There's a link in the newsletter that you're able to sign up and have these shows. They are getting like thousands and thousands of streams each episode. So definitely use this opportunity to boost your business, boost visibility for yourself and other WBEs, as well as our corporate members. All right. And now it is time for our raffle. I'm going to give a few seconds. If you have not, leave your name, company, and email name in the Q&A chat for a chance to win. So I'll give a few seconds if you have not had a chance to enter that. All right. And it looks like our winner is... It is Liddy Brown. Congratulations, Liddy. You are the winner of a $25 Macy's gift card. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Hey, Sherelle.
Hey, Roz.
Well, I guess welcome back. Hello. I see all these beautiful faces. This is where technology always controls.
Mm-hmm.
I have literally been trying to get in. I could hear everything you're saying actually on my iPad, but could not get audio, any of those things. And Outlook wasn't letting me in, but you did a great job. So again, listening to some of those top 10s, I was taking deep breaths, going, okay, this is going to be all right. This is going to be okay. But thank you so much. And Kaddra, thank you so much for sharing all the information that you shared with us today. So I really appreciate that too.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So I hope, you all enjoyed our time that you spent with us today, but we got a few upcoming events that we hope that you're going to sign up for too, that are coming up as well. And Liddy, congratulations on winning the Macy's gift card. I was able to come in at the last second kind of hearing that. One of the things we're going to do, if you go to the next slide, I think we're going to thank our sponsors as well. So we're very excited about these sponsors, and that list is going to continue to grow. So keep that in mind. It continues to grow throughout the year, which we're very excited about, because that's saying all the support that the corporations and women businesses are providing the GWBC, so we can bring information like this to you. And our next event is maintaining the health of your business. And this is our second season on this, and we're going to be talking about payroll. You know, do you need it or not? I will tell you, people who were applying for the PPP, we got the PPE, we got the PPP, Paycheck Protection Program. This was kind of where the rubber meets the road, is whether or not you had all the documentation that you needed, and you don't want to miss out on it. So we want to talk about how it's going to be actually value add for you to either hire a payroll company or understand in QuickBooks or whatever system you are comfortable with in using, so that you will be able to apply if we need to do this again. And then we're going to have our first town hall meeting. That's going to be on March 17th. And that's going to be at 10 a.m. as well. If you notice, we're keeping that theme of 10 a.m. now. And that town hall meeting, we're going to be talking about vaccinations, because it's going to be important for employers to know what the rules are and what the laws are and the guidance regarding your employees. For those of you who have employees, to understand whether or not you can mandate that your employees get a vaccination or not. What alternatives there are if you have an employee who says they're adverse to getting the vaccination. So we want to bring information to you regarding that. Jackson Lewis, who is a law firm, an employer law firm, is going to be one of our speakers for that event. And then we're going to host our virtual quarterly pop marketplace. And that is a half-day session that's going to take place on March 31st. Excuse me. And then that is where we're going to have our quarterly matchmaker sessions. So you should see the registration for matchmakers. Please keep in mind, our corporations are the ones who select the WBEs that they want to meet with. In the last one, we had over 100 WBEs that applied, for the matchmaker session. So don't give up. It's just a matter of us making sure that we can match you with the right corporation, or even another WBE if they have procurement opportunities as well. And so we want to make sure that we're continuing protocols regarding COVID. So most of our events are going to be, or should I say all of our events will be virtual, at least for this first and second quarter, until we know it's safe to see each other, which is going to be great to see everybody in person. Also, keep in mind that the application period is open for our mentor protege program. And so you can apply to be a mentor or a protege for the class of 2021. So information about this can also be found, as well as all of the events that I just mentioned, on GWBC.org. So go to our website, or just click on that newsletter that you get every Wednesday. And if you're not getting the newsletter, please go on and sign up. But also that you'll be able to get our newsletter indicating the fact that, of the events that are coming up. And sometimes in those newsletters, keep in mind, it's not just GWBC events. There are also our corporate members' events or notices or things of that nature, something important for you to share, as well as any of our other partner organizations. So we bring this to you weekly. On Wednesday afternoon is when we send it out, and we'll send out another special notice on Friday, just highlighting those particular events in case you miss the Wednesday. And again, we ask that you follow us on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, because we do want to know what's going on with you. And if you got any good news to share, please do that as well, because we're always looking for that. And I know Sherelle already mentioned about the radio show. So if you have not signed up for the radio show, it is still free right now, because it will be a charge later. So it's a great opportunity for you to showcase your business for 20 minutes. And our women businesses are averaging about 9,000 downloads. That's a lot if you think about it, per episode. So please do that. You must be certified though with GWBC in order to take advantage of it. And I want to thank the production team today, Sherelle and Pat. for taking over and what they do every mornings with GWBC, every maintaining the health of your business. They're the behind the scenes that bring you this experience. And hopefully, you know, if you notice, they know how to just jump right in and keep it moving. So I appreciate that. Well, until next time, we encourage you to have a wonderful and successful week. Please stay healthy. Please stay safe. And most importantly, ladies and women businesses, because you all rock, please stay strong.
Hello, this is
And goodbye.
calling with important healthcare information.
And that's a wrap.
Hey, thank you. I'm going to tell you, it just stopped. And you know,